This changes everything for the Buffalo Bills, as a rumor is swirling right now saying that a familiar face may be making his debut tonight on Monday Night Football, and Sean McDermott is thrilled to have some depth. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bills Digest. Josh Schreiber here as usual, and we are excited as it is a Bills Mafia game day tonight for Monday Night Football. But before we get into this massive rumor that's swirling, a reminder, about 84% of you guys are not subscribed to Bills Digest. We just hit 1,000 subscribers, so make sure to add to that, subscribe to the channel, and I promise you, you won't regret it. We are super thrilled to see the growth we've had the past week or so, and can't wait to grow even more and bring you guys some more unique Bills content. Well, with that being said, let's dive right into it. The Bills play the Atlanta Falcons this week, or rather tonight on Monday Night Football in Atlanta. And this is a big game for Buffalo because they are coming off a loss to the New England Patriots that was quite embarrassing. They scored just 20 points, gave up 23 to the Drake May-led Patriots, who really made it difficult on themselves with penalties and bad mistakes and turnovers, but the Bills did even worse and lost that game at home. Now, the bigger news for Buffalo is that there is a rumor swirling that Jordan Poyer will make his debut tomorrow night, or rather tonight now, in Atlanta, and has fans asking, are you ready for the return of what was once known, or who was once known as All-Pro Poe? This is a massive development. Jordan Poyer was brought to Buffalo as one of the first moves that Brandon Beane made in his tenure as the general manager of the Buffalo Bills. He was on that team and really led that team that broke the curse. They broke the 17-year playoff drought back in 2017, in what was a phenomenal year for him, a guy that had kind of been just wasting away on teams like the Browns, the Eagles, before they really got good. And the Bills decided that they liked him. They signed him. They signed Micah Hyde from the Packers, and the rest was history. They created a culture that we have never seen from the Buffalo Bills, and at least I haven't in my lifetime. Maybe my parents have when they were kids growing up watching the 90s Bills, just going to town with Jim Kelly and Frank Reich in those days. But Jordan Poyer brought something to the Bills that they did not have. They did not have an established, strong culture, and they hadn't had it for several decades. And it showed up in the statistics, as we'll get a look at where he stands in all-time ranks amongst Buffalo Bills defensive players. First, we'll get a look at his interceptions, and all-time Buffalo Bills players, Jordan Poyer sneaks in at number 10 for the 10th most interceptions, just one away for being tied for 7th. And you look at those names on there, not a lot of familiar names, a lot of older players that have not been playing for a while, and Jordan Poyer with 22 career picks in just 107 games, and very impressive stuff for him. Obviously, he's older now, but certainly could be on interception watch tonight against a young Michael Penix, who has been a bit streaky at times this season. Now, we go into all-time tackle leaders, as we have the right graphic here. London Fletcher has the most tackles in the history of the Buffalo Bills, but Jordan Poyer maybe just a couple of games away from passing him and being the first Buffalo Bills player to hit the 500 tackles mark. Just remarkable stuff. And, you view Jordan Poyer as a guy that changed the way this Bills franchise operates, but you never really realize just how significant he is in the grand scheme of the Buffalo Bills. This is a guy who, if he can be on a Bills team in the next couple of years that wins a Super Bowl, there is no doubt in my mind he will have his number 21 retired. They will put a statue out for him. This is an all-time legend for the Buffalo Bills if they are able to bring home a Super Bowl with him being a key part of it. Now, that is a big if. There's no doubt about it. Jordan Poyer is creeping up there in age, probably only has a couple of years left. Some have said he was a bit of a liability his remaining years with Buffalo, but I'm certainly excited to see if he can bring that veteran presence because the Buffalo Bills really need it. Now, why do the Bills need Jordan Poyer to come up big? You may be asking. Well, this is why. Here is a list of the PFF players on the Buffalo Bills defense and where they rank. As you see there at 22 and 23, those are two of their safeties. Cole Bishop has been solid. He's above all of these numbers. He's been all right. He's been just about average, maybe a bit above average recently in some of his PFF grades. But Taylor Rapp has been brutal. He is ranking around in the 40s on the PFF tracker. And if you guys remember the scale I showed you guys from yesterday, that is a below average number. That is not something you want in one of your starting safeties, especially when it's not like you have other defensive players in the secondary that are bailing him out. In fact, not at all. You see Christian Benford right in there at 19. His coverage rating is at 45, so he has been quite bad this season, and Trey White has also been just about average, if not below average. So bringing in a guy like Jordan Poyer, you kind of feel like as a Bills fan, why not? What can happen that will hurt the team? There's not a whole lot because the safety play from the Buffalo Bills and secondary in general has been brutal. And bringing in a guy like Jordan Poyer, who with the Buffalo Bills had 11 sacks, 475 tackles, 5 fumble recoveries, and 22 interceptions, an all-time great Buffalo Bills defender. And it sounds outrageous to say, but I showed you the stats. It's true. Obviously, the Bills have not had the most successful franchise history other than their 90s years with Jim Kelly, but he has certainly changed that perspective. And fans are quick to have recency bias, and I urge you to remember what Jordan Poyer has done for this organization, even if he goes out there and shows that he is washed, which, I'm hoping is not what happens, but we certainly have to give him some space to grow because our other options are simply not cutting it right now. So let's transition a little bit to the actual game itself. Now, we see this man right here, Bijan Robinson. We'll get to him in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about the injury report for the Buffalo Bills. We'll start with them at least, and then we'll go into the Atlanta Falcons. You see here that Dion Dawkins still dealing with that thumb injury that he is fully playing through. There's no concerns there. Damar Hamlin was added to the injured reserve, and he may not play again this season. Dalton Kincaid, still a limited participant in practice on Saturday. He is questionable for this game. That will be big. Matt Milano, he is out, as we know. TJ Sanders out. He's on injured reserve. And Curtis Samuel, he is questionable. So, as we saw from Adam Schefter today, he said the Buffalo Bills have a couple of pregame decisions with Dalton Kincaid and Curtis Samuel that they will have to make before the ball game starts. And I will get to what the Dalton Kincaid specifically, that injury means for them. Honestly, I'll be totally transparent with you guys. I don't think the Curtis Samuel injury really matters all that much. He's been in a healthy scratch. I think he can help the team, but their wide receiver depth is there. Obviously, they don't have the star, but Curtis Samuel, they're not going to be losing any games because Curtis Samuel is inactive. Dalton Kincaid, on the other hand, that is a bigger story. I do think he'll play, but if he doesn't, you may see another video from me talking about the implications of that. Obviously, I released a video a couple of days ago about how important Dalton Kincaid is to this offense, but if he is not able to go, they do still have Dawson Knox. They do still have Jackson Hawes and an array of receivers that they can get the ball to against a Falcons defense that is solid, but nothing crazy, nothing absolutely impossible to score points off of. So obviously crazier things have happened, but that is where I'm at when it comes to those injuries. When it comes to the Falcons' injuries, we see their injury report here, and the main thing to note here is that Darnell Mooney is out. He is one of their better receivers alongside Drake London, so will be nice to not have another big-time deep threat out on the field, especially with the way these safeties have been. The other notable injury to keep track of, Billy Bowman Jr., he is questionable, was a limited participant in practice on Saturday. He is their nickelback, so if you want to, well, not that nickelback if you are thinking of, look at this photograph. But anyways, sorry, got a bit off topic there. But Billy Bowman is basically the Falcons' version of Taron Johnson, who also has been struggling this year. But that is kind of your comparison to put in your brain. If Billy Bowman is out, that could be massive for the Buffalo Bills, as you also see Clark Phillips is out for the Falcons. Just some more corner depth that could help our receivers get open down the field. The biggest piece of injury news for the Falcons is not on this list. In fact, it is that A.J. Terrell, their star cornerback, will play Monday night. And this is a Falcons news page. They are more of a fan, or not more of a fan page, but they are a fan page. Rise Up Penix. Their cornerback one is back. And for those that don't know, A.J. Terrell had a phenomenal game against Stephon Diggs 2 years ago in Buffalo when the Falcons traveled to Orchard Park to play against the Bills, and he did a really nice job locking up Stephon Diggs. The Bills did win that game. It was a close one, or at least it was close until the end, but something to keep an eye on, because we saw what Christian Gonzalez of the Patriots, their star corner, was able to do against the Bills. He had a lockdown game, and it'll be big for the Falcons to have their lockdown corner back as well. I would watch against picking any sort of Keon Coleman player props, considering A.J. Terrell, there is a chance that he will be shadowing him in this game. Now, back to some of the keys to watch and previewing this game. And honestly, I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to keep it simple. There is one key to the game here today that the Buffalo Bills have to do everything they can to slow down, and that is this man right here, Bijan Robinson. This man is an absolute monster. He has been phenomenal this season, and if I pull up his season stats, there you see him here. 584 yards from scrimmage. That's fourth in all of the NFL, and he averages 146 yards per game. That's rushing and receiving. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think he soars over that number this week. The Buffalo Bills have not shown that they can stop a dynamic running back. Obviously, they did have a solid game against Breece Hall and the Jets, but come on, guys, that's the Jets. We know who the Jets are. They're always going to Jets, especially against the Buffalo Bills. Bijan Robinson is not Breece Hall, and he is most certainly not on the Jets. I am very worried about Breece Hall, and here's why. In his games this year, here are some of his notable ones. 181 yards from scrimmage with a touchdown. 111, 168, 124. I think he demolishes his player prop this week, which I believe is like 110.5 rushing and receiving yards. I think there's a better chance he gets 200 than he gets below that, in my opinion. With that being said, the Bills still can win a game against the Falcons if Bijan is going off, but it is going to be very difficult. They're going to have to force turnovers, and they're going to have to force Michael Penix to throw some interceptions. They're going to have to force Bijan to maybe fumble one time, and their offense is going to have to deliver. But Bijan Robinson is really terrifying for me as a Buffalo Bills fan. I'm hoping that the Bills can do everything they can to stop him. I'm just a little bit concerned. But with that being said, they do have some firepower coming back with Jordan Poyer, as we mentioned earlier. So hopefully Poyer is in the game. Hopefully he will get some action and spell Taylor Rapp in this one, because the Bills need something to change on defense. And I hope I'm going to come back after the game and do a little bit of a post-game recap. I hope it's a happy one. I hope to see you guys here, but man, oh man, all we can do is pray. Go Bills, rise up Bills Mafia, and let's beat the Falcons tonight. This has been Josh Schreiber for Bills Digest. Let's go Buffalo.